We live in a world that's been carefully designed to pull your attention in every possible direction: endless notifications, social media feeds, breaking news, opinions from people who don't even know you. Every single day, you're bombarded with noise that keeps you distracted, and quietly, it drains your energy. Here's the truth: if you're not careful, you'll wake up years later and realize you've spent your life chasing things that didn't matter. See, the system doesn't reward focus, it rewards compliance. It wants you entertained, not empowered. Busy, not effective. Available, not self-directed, and maybe you've felt it. You've said yes when you should have said no. You've put others first so many times that you forgot what you even wanted. You gave your time, your energy, your peace, and in return, you were left feeling overwhelmed, used, and somehow, invisible. But here's the shift: when you stop prioritizing everyone else's approval, and start choosing yourself, everything changes. You become untouchable, not in a cold, arrogant way, but in a deeply grounded, clear-headed, stoic way. You begin to say no without guilt. You choose your time with intention. You stop explaining yourself. You protect your peace like it matters, because it does. Society won't hand you freedom. You have to take it back. That begins by turning inward. By asking yourself, what actually matters to me? And then having the courage to live by the answer, even if it's inconvenient. Even if it means disappointing people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. The world doesn't need another burnt-out, agreeable version of you. It needs you, clear, focused, powerful, and awake. So I'll ask you, are you living your life? Or are you just reacting to it, because the moment you stop waiting for permission is the moment you start living on your own terms? Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Let that sink in. If you spend your days chasing validation, waiting for permission, or living according to someone else's rules, then you've already given your power away. And most people, they don't even realize it. They're trapped, not behind bars, but inside invisible prisons of the mind. Always asking, will they like me if I say this? Am I good enough? Maybe I should just play it safe. But here's the thing: playing small never made anyone free. When you don't prioritize yourself, the world will do it for you, and not in your favor. You'll be told what to want, what to fear, what to buy, and who to be. You'll wake up one day living someone else's life, wondering where your voice went. Like staying in a career you hate just because it's what your parents expected, not what you dreamed of. No one's coming to rescue you. That's not a threat, it's your greatest opportunity, because once you stop waiting, you start moving. You take back the wheel. You stop being the victim of other people's choices, and start becoming the author of your own story. Now don't get me wrong, helping others is noble. But you can't pour from an empty cup. Giving should come from strength, not sacrifice. From fullness, not fatigue. The Stoics knew this well. They taught that self-mastery isn't selfish, it's necessary. Because only when you're centered, grounded, and in control of yourself, can you genuinely serve others without losing yourself in the process. So ask yourself, what would change if you made yourself the priority, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that says, my life matters. My energy matters. My peace matters. Would you still tolerate the same relationships? Would you still spend your time the same way? Would you still stay silent when something deep inside you is begging to be heard? You don't owe the world your exhaustion. That means it's okay to say no to another weekend obligation, even if it disappoints someone, because your rest is sacred too. You owe it your presence, and that begins the moment you say, I choose me. Let me ask you something: have you ever twisted yourself into someone you're not, just to be liked? You smile when you're uncomfortable. You say yes when every part of you is screaming no. You stay quiet, agreeable, polished, all in the hopes that someone, somewhere, might approve of you. But here's the harsh truth: you could live your life as a saint, and someone would still find a reason to judge you. No matter how perfect you try to be, someone will misunderstand you, dislike you, reject you. So the question isn't how do I get everyone to like me? It's why am I trying so hard in the first place? This is what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus meant when he said, some things are up to us, and some things are not: your thoughts, your actions, your values, those are yours; the opinions of others, completely out of your control. And yet, most people spend their entire lives trying to manipulate the uncontrollable, curating their image, chasing approval, fearing rejection. But when you constantly need validation to feel okay, what happens when it doesn't come? You crumble. You conform. You disappear. Seeking approval is a subtle form of self-abandonment. It's trading authenticity for applause. And here's the twist: the applause never lasts. People forget. Move on. Shift their opinions like the wind, but when you stop seeking, when you begin to show up as you truly are, something powerful happens. You start to attract respect, not just attention. You become magnetic, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. So here's the invitation: stop living like you're on trial. You don't need the world's permission to exist. You don't need their cheers to keep walking. Remember, the only person you're with for life is you. So start living in a way that earns your own respect. In a world addicted to noise and performance, your calm confidence will speak louder than anything you try to prove. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. Your peace isn't up for negotiation. Let me ask you a hard question: are you truly in control of your focus? Or is someone else steering the wheel? You might not even notice it, but every day, there are people, and systems, pulling at your attention. Friends, bosses, social media algorithms, all quietly nudging you in directions that serve them more than you. And the scary part is, it works, not because you're weak, but because you're human. Let's talk about 3 common manipulation tactics people use to hijack your focus. First, the guilt trap. You try to set a boundary, maybe say no to a request or take time for yourself, and suddenly you're the bad guy. Like when you cancel dinner plans to rest, and suddenly your friend says, "Wow, you've changed." That's not concern, that's control. "After everything I've done for you." Or "You've changed." Sound familiar? That guilt isn't love. It's a tool, used to keep you compliant and small. Second, the scarcity illusion. Toxic people will make you believe they're the only ones who care. That if you walk away, you'll regret it. Be alone. Be nothing. But here's the truth: real connection doesn't require fear. Anyone who needs to scare you to keep you isn't worth keeping. Third, the distraction game. Ever notice how someone always has drama right when you need to focus? Or how endless scrolling steals your hours, leaving you drained and wondering where the day went? That's not coincidence. That's engineered chaos, designed to steal your clarity and sell you comfort in its place. Now here's what the Stoics would say: he who controls his attention controls his life, because focus is your most valuable asset, and every moment you give it away carelessly, you're giving away a piece of your freedom. So the next time someone tries to trigger guilt, fear, or noise, pause, ask yourself, does this serve my purpose, or theirs? And then act, not react. That's how you take back the wheel. You don't owe anyone your focus, you owe it to yourself to protect it like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Have you ever noticed how easily we let others control our emotions? A stranger cuts you off in traffic, a coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment, and suddenly, your whole mood changes. But what if I told you that true power begins when you stop letting others dictate how you feel? The Stoics called this emotional detachment, but don't get it twisted. This isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about being unshakable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That one truth can reshape how you walk through life. Think about it: when you're emotionally detached from someone's approval, their opinion loses its grip on you. You stop living to please others, and you start acting from your own values. That's not weakness, that's clarity, and when you focus on your actions, not the outcome, you free yourself from the anxiety of what might go wrong. You stop overthinking and start doing. Whether you succeed or fail, you stay calm, because you were never attached to the result, only to your effort. Emotional detachment also means choosing not to react to negativity. It's easy to snap back, to let someone else's anger ignite your own. But what happens when you just don't respond? You take back control. You're no longer a puppet pulled by strings of judgment, insults, or noise, and let's be honest, so much of what drains us isn't even real problems. It's drama, gossip, distractions that cloud our focus. When you learn to step back, to let the world spin while you stay centered, that's when you find peace. Detachment isn't indifference. It's strength. It's saying, I will not allow external chaos to disturb my inner calm. So ask yourself, how much of your energy is being spent reacting to things that don't matter? How many times have you let someone else's opinion become your prison? The Stoic path teaches us to stand firm, not by resisting our emotions, but by observing them, understanding them, and refusing to be ruled by them. That's not apathy. That's freedom. Here's something most people won't admit: we're not really in control of our lives. Our impulses are: we scroll endlessly, avoid discomfort, chase the next quick hit of pleasure, whether it's junk food, dopamine from likes, or another episode on autoplay. But the truth is, a person who can't master themselves becomes a slave to their cravings. And that's not freedom. That's surrender. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it bluntly: no man is free who is not master of himself. So, what does it mean to master yourself? It starts with discipline, the quiet force behind every meaningful life. And no, discipline doesn't mean punishing yourself or living like a monk. It means making conscious decisions instead of reactive ones. It means resisting the temptation to always take the easy path. Because the easy path rarely leads anywhere worth going, we live in a world engineered for distraction. Constant notifications. Never-ending content. Bad news everywhere you turn. That's why Stoic self-mastery begins by limiting negative input. What you allow into your mind shapes what comes out of your life. Filter your feed, guard your energy, and when it comes to time, treat it like treasure. Because it is. Most people waste their days and then wonder where their lives went. Stoics don't wait for the perfect time, they make use of the time they have, with fierce intentionality. Another key: stop overthinking and start moving. How often have you talked yourself out of something you knew was right, just because it felt hard? The Stoic way is to act, not impulsively, but decisively. Doubt and delay are the enemies of progress, and maybe the most powerful shift. Focus on the process, not the prize. When you show up daily with discipline, you stop obsessing over results. You become the kind of person who succeeds, not by luck, but by consistency. So ask yourself, are you leading your life, or are you just reacting to it? True strength isn't found in control over others. It's found in control over yourself. That's the art of Stoic self-mastery. And it might just be the difference between existing and truly living. Let me ask you something: when was the last time you sat alone? In silence. With no phone, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. For most people, that idea is terrifying. We're constantly surrounded by noise. Constantly connected, yet somehow still disconnected from ourselves. But the Stoics saw silence and solitude not as something to fear, but as a source of immense power. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors in history, wrote in his journal, not for an audience, but for himself, reminding himself daily to retreat into his own mind to find clarity, control, and peace. Seneca, too, believed that stepping away from the chaos of the crowd was essential to mastering the self. So why is solitude so powerful? Because in silence, you start to hear yourself. Your real thoughts. Your real fears. Your real desires. It's uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort. That's where growth begins. In solitude, you sharpen your focus. You begin to see what actually matters and what's just noise. You stop outsourcing your happiness to others, and start building a foundation that doesn't crumble when people leave or life gets hard. You become self-reliant. You don't need approval, applause, or attention. You carry your center with you, and perhaps most importantly, you learn emotional control. When you're not constantly reacting to the world, you have the space to respond, with intention, with wisdom, with calm. That's when you stop being predictable. That's when you become formidable. Let me be clear, solitude isn't isolation. It's not about shutting out the world. It's about returning to yourself, so that when you do step back into the world, you show up stronger, more grounded, more unstoppable, so the next time you find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit, or feeling anxious in the quiet, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really running from? And what might I find? If I just stayed with myself a little longer, the world is noisy. But your strength? It's forged in the quiet. Let's be real for a moment. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. We're told to be loyal, to forgive endlessly, to keep the peace. But what happens when holding on to someone starts to cost you yourself? The truth is, some relationships are anchors disguised as friendships. Like the friend who jokes about your goals every time you share them, that's not banter, that's resistance to your growth. Some people drain your energy, chip away at your confidence, and subtly sabotage your growth, not because they're evil, but because they're comfortable with the old version of you. And the moment you start to evolve, they get uncomfortable. Maybe you felt it. That heaviness after spending time with someone. That quiet doubt they plant when you share your dreams. That guilt they use to keep you close. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that peace of mind isn't just about what you pursue, but what you're willing to walk away from. Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. And if someone is doing the opposite, you owe it to yourself to choose differently. So how do you know when it's time to cut ties? If they leave you emotionally exhausted, if they mock or dismiss your growth, if they use guilt as a leash, if they breed negativity, if they don't celebrate your success, but quietly resent it, these are signs. Signs that staying connected is costing you your joy, your focus, your momentum. Cutting someone off doesn't make you cruel. It makes you clear. It sends a message, not to them, but to you. I choose myself. I choose peace over drama. Growth over guilt. It's not easy. You'll question yourself. You'll miss the memories. But remember this, loyalty to someone else should never mean betrayal to yourself. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for both of you, is let go. Letting go makes space. Space for new energy, deeper alignment, and the kind of relationships that fuel you instead of draining you. So ask yourself, who in your life challenges you to grow, and who makes you shrink, because your environment shapes your evolution. And your peace is too precious to compromise. We've been sold a lie. We're told that confidence comes from how much money we make, what car we drive, how many followers we have, or how we look in the mirror. But real confidence, the kind that doesn't crack under pressure, doesn't come from outside. It's built within. You've probably met someone like this. They don't talk the loudest, they don't need the spotlight. But when they walk into a room, they carry a quiet strength. That's unshakable confidence. That stoic confidence. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he constantly reminded himself, it's not the events, but our response to them, that defines our power. A truly confident person doesn't overreact. They don't panic when things go wrong. Why? Because their peace isn't held hostage by things they can't control. So how do you build that kind of confidence? First, detach from approval. The moment your self-worth depends on someone else's opinion, you've given them control over your emotions. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Second, embrace difficulty. Confidence isn't grown in comfort. It's forged in resistance. Every time you face something hard and push through it, your mind gets tougher, your spirit more grounded. Third, master your reactions. You can't control the world. But you can control how you respond. And in that space between stimulus and response, that's where your power lies. Finally, own your thoughts. Your inner dialogue becomes your outer reality. If you constantly feed yourself fear, doubt, and comparison, you'll live small. But if you practice discipline in thought, choosing clarity, strength, and purpose, you start to become the person you were meant to be. Unshakable confidence isn't about pretending you're perfect. It's about knowing you'll be okay, even when everything around you falls apart, because true confidence doesn't need applause, it doesn't need a spotlight, it just needs a solid foundation, and that foundation is you. So ask yourself, are you building your confidence on shifting sand, or on the solid ground of your own values, choices, and mindset? The world will always try to shake you. But with the right mind, you become unshakable. Here's a hard truth no one really tells you: most people aren't free. They might look like it. They go where they want, buy what they want, post what they want, but inside, they're trapped. Trapped by toxic relationships. By fear of judgment. By the endless need to please others, to impress, to compare. The Stoics taught something radical: real freedom isn't found in money, fame, or status. It's found in self-mastery. Let that sink in, because if your emotions control you, if other people's opinions dictate your worth, if your past still rules your present, are you really free? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who could have anything he wanted, said this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The truth is, freedom starts the moment you stop giving your energy to what doesn't serve you. So ask yourself, what owns you right now? Is it someone who keeps dragging you down? Is it the voice in your head telling you you're not enough? Is it the fear of being disliked, misunderstood, or left out? You can keep living like everyone else, constantly reacting, constantly chasing approval, or you can make a different choice. You can choose self-control over self-doubt, discipline over distraction, peace over performance. The final Stoic lesson is this: ultimate freedom is letting go of everything that doesn't align with who you truly are. It's the courage to walk away from noise. To stop participating in your own suffering. To take full ownership of your life, your mind, your choices, your direction. That kind of freedom, it can't be bought. It can't be given. It's earned by doing the work. By facing the hard truths. By choosing growth when comfort whispers your name. You don't have to escape the world to be free. You just have to stop letting the world own you, and when that happens, when you reclaim your power from everything that once controlled you, you become truly unstoppable. Because the most dangerous person in the room is the one who no longer needs anything from it. If you've made it this far in the video, I want you to pause for just a moment and acknowledge something important. You're not here by accident. You're not just a passive listener. You're someone who's ready to rise, ready to grow, ready to take back control, and that matters, because most people, they scroll, they watch, they consume, but they don't change. You, on the other hand, stayed. You leaned in. You absorbed ideas that can reshape your life, and that tells me something. You are ready to level up, so let me ask you, what are you going to do with that readiness? Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could be good today, but instead, you choose tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for permission. You already have everything you need to begin. Start now. Start messy. Start imperfect. But start, declare it: I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That's not just a quote, it's a commitment. A way of life. And if you felt something in this video, if you found clarity, if it lit a fire inside you, don't let it fade. Hit that like button, not for the algorithm, but as a symbol that you're showing up for yourself. Subscribe. And turn on notifications, because this journey we're on, it doesn't end here. We go deeper. We go stronger. Together, this channel isn't just motivation. It's a mindset shift. A return to ancient wisdom that still holds the power to unlock your best self. From this moment on, make it your mission to focus, not on the noise of the world, but on the one thing you can control: yourself, your mind, your habits, your reactions, your choices. The power is in your hands. The next chapter is unwritten, so go write something legendary.